As Ben Wilker, chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, says, there are years when nothing happens and there are weeks when decades happen. This is one of those decades-long weeks. We have Vice President Kamala Harris surging ahead, Donald Trump in panic, in total chaos, lashing out right now. I want to show you Donald Trump's meltdown. I want to compare it to what Vice President Kamala Harris is saying. First, she's going on the offense. She's calling out Donald Trump. The most recent press release that she issued after Donald Trump canceled the debates with her because he was too scared and too afraid, Vice President Kamala Harris said the following. Many people are saying Donald Trump is scared to debate Kamala Harris. Quote, I'm calling for debates anytime, anywhere, any place. That was Donald Trump as recently as May 6th. After calling for debates for months, Trump agreed to 2 debates a few days later. The next scheduled debate is for September 10th on ABC News in New York City. But now Trump is backing out, canceling, withdrawing. What is Donald Trump doing, though, instead? He's sending these bizarre and deranged emails about rallies that he's holding. Here's one that he sent. If you're reading this, I need your endorsement. I need 1 million endorsements before I step stage in Minnesota. I want you to pay attention, though, to the language that Donald Trump uses when he sends these emails to his supporters. Now, I subscribe to his email list, so you don't have to, but the language that he uses is very violent. It's combative. It's about destroying and burying. I want you to look at this. Trump goes, ahead of my Minnesota rally in 24 hours, we can bury Kamala's Hate America campaign before it even gets off the ground. You know, it's all projection and confession with Donald Trump. He spends all of his speeches, as Governor Josh Shapiro of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania says, Trump spends all his speeches just shit-talking the United States of America and talking down. I'll show you Governor Shapiro in a moment. But here's what Donald Trump talks about. It's never about policies. It's never about issues. It's always about him and avoiding accountability. It's always me, 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 me. Donald Trump goes, I didn't quit when my home was raided. Pause. You mean when you stole nuclear secrets, when you stole war plans and refused to return it, so a search warrant was lawfully executed to receive the nuclear code, secrets, and war plans, which first you claim the FBI planted at Mar-a-Lago, which, by the way, is not even your home. It's like a club that you make people pay you on a quid pro quo basis, so you can then exchange secrets with them. That's what you're referring to there. Then you go, oh, so first you were saying that the FBI planted it. When that was false, then you said that actually the nuclear codes, the secrets, the war plans, they belong to you. They're your personal property. And then the third thing you requested of Judge Eileen Cannon, who's the judge you appointed, who corruptly dismissed the case, was that the special counsel position is an unconstitutional position that should never exist, despite the fact that Republican administrations use special counsels, Democratic administrations use special counsels for decades, and the Supreme Court's always said special counsels are fine. They could be appointed by the Attorney General. Then Donald Trump goes, I didn't quit when I was indicted and arrested. Well, you were indicted 4 separate times by 4 separate grand juries when evidence was presented about the crimes that you committed, trying to fraudulently overturn a free and fair election, stealing nuclear codes, engaging in the falsification of business records. And then you were convicted by a jury. The Trump Organization was in one trial for fraud. You were convicted of falsification of business records in another trial. Unanimous juries, all 12 jurors agreed that you were criminal beyond a reasonable doubt. But whine about that. Then Trump goes, I didn't quit when I was wrongfully convicted in a rigged Biden-Harris trial. I don't even know what you're even talking about there, but it's all him. But the radical left Democrats think I'll give up now. I'm just asking, rather than you giving up, what are you doing? Like, what is it that you doing? What is your policy? Have you articulated one thing that you are even going to do other than say xenophobic and racist things, other than talk down about America and talk about mass deportations on day one and leading chants of fight, fight, fight? and leading chants of send them home like there was at the Republican National Convention. Seriously, what is your policy? All you're just saying, we're going to make it great. We're going to make it better. You were in office. You have a track record. You were the only president other than Herbert Hoover, that makes you Pervert Hoover, who lost jobs. If you look at any objective data, you were the worst president in United States history, yet you have a propaganda media that still props you up. And speaking about the propaganda media propping him up, even after all of this, this is the editorial from the New York Times, just so you know. The New York Times just wrote an editorial, America deserves a better campaign from both candidates. And as Jonah Blank says, Kamala Harris has been the likely Democratic nominee for 5 days. Her opponent has been the likely GOP nominee for nearly 4 years. The New York Times editorial board is displeased with both campaigns equally. I don't know, New York Times. How about you put on your front page that Donald Trump is a coward who is refusing to debate Vice President Kamala Harris, while other MAGA Republicans spew the most racist and hateful things and say things like, oh, she's a DEI candidate and things like that. And Donald Trump's too afraid to debate her. Why don't you report those facts, the racist, xenophobic, horrible tropes coming out of these MAGA Republicans every single day? How about you talk about the forward-looking vision of Vice President Kamala Harris when she actually talks about issues and policies and how she's lowering the cost of healthcare and prescription drug prices, how she's protecting Social Security and Medicare, how she's going to fight for veterans to make sure that they receive more protections, how she's going to make education more accessible, how she's going to lower the price like the way President Biden did of drugs like insulin, how she's going to continue President Biden's policies of bottom up, middle out. Why don't you keep reporting on the fact that the economy's actually in a boom right now, that you and others claim there would be a 100% chance of recession, and there wasn't, and now the GDP's thriving, 2.8% growth in the last quarter, exceeding expectations as inflation continues to decline, and we're getting close to the Fed lowering interest rates? How about you report on the facts? Or maybe what you actually devote your attention to as Vice President Kamala Harris is out there talking about the issues, that Donald Trump's VP pick, J.D. Vance, after attacking what he described as childless cat ladies are a threat to democracy, then he doubled down on it. I'm sure you've seen our other videos of what J.D. Vance said. He goes, I mean what I said. He then posted the following. J.D. Vance posts, most Americans in both political parties support the child tax credit and lowering the tax burden for parents. It's disturbing that the Kamala campaign is running on such an extreme anti-family agenda that they're taking radical positions like this. I want you to see the photo that J.D. Vance is even posting here to see what a disgusting individual this is. It's a photo of someone putting money in Vice President Kamala Harris's face right there. Now, if we want to talk about facts, we should talk about how it was your party, J.D. Vance, the Republican Party, that caused the Biden-Harris administration child tax credits to sunset. The Biden-Harris administration expanded child tax credits to $3,000 per kid, $3,600 per child under 6 in 2021, and made it fully refundable that year, cutting child poverty to its lowest rate ever. They, meaning Vice President Kamala Harris and President Biden, have been pushing Congress for a permanent expansion ever since. Do you know who's blocking it? Do you know who's stopping it? You are. You are, and the MAGA Republicans are. The same way you vote against IVF protection, the same way you vote against codifying the right to contraception, codifying the right to IVF, codifying the right to women's reproductive rights. You're on audio, J.D. Vance, saying that abortion should be illegal nationally, and that's what you would support. And you continue to make statements about your disdain for what you refer to as childless cat ladies, and how families that don't have kids should face a higher tax burden. That is what you say over and over again. Well, Donald Trump is speaking in Minnesota over this weekend. A new Minnesota poll shows Vice President Kamala Harris up 10 points. President Biden won Minnesota by 7%, 4 years ago. And what's Donald Trump been doing as well? He's just been grifting every single day. In addition to selling Assassination Edition sneakers, because that's what Donald Trump decided to do after the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania, sell Assassination Edition sneakers. If you go on his social media platform, and I'm telling you probably shouldn't go on there because it is a cesspool, but I do it for you. Here's all the things they're selling. You can get the shot glass of 2024, which the Donald Trump shot glass. You can get the bulletproof Trump whiskey glass. You can get a fake $2 bill signed by Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, the fake sign, not actually signed by them. That is what they are doing. What else is Donald Trump doing? Well, Donald Trump invited Benjamin Netanyahu, who decides to interfere with American domestic policy as well. You'll never see Donald Trump have a smile like this as he did when shaking hands with Benjamin Netanyahu at Mar-a-Lago. You see it right there. And if you actually zoom in on Donald Trump's ear, from this meeting, though, with Benjamin Netanyahu, what do you notice? Or should I say, what do you not notice right there? One of the things that I'm noticing as well, though, is that one of the main searched items right now is J.D. Vance and dolphins. And that's getting under Donald Trump's skin because that's being searched more than Trump assassination. By far more people, just like they were looking into J.D. Vance on the couch, lots of people are looking into J.D. Vance dolphins. And I'll say this about the J.D. Vance dolphin situation. That would be fact check true. J.D. Vance posted, not even that long ago, a few months back, a photo of a dolphin and a woman. And it was clear that J.D. Vance searched it himself because you can see the bold words dolphin and woman. So he kind of gave away his search history right there, which is, again, very, very strange and very bizarre and tells you a lot about J.D. Vance and these MAGA Republicans. J.D. Vance's popularity is among the lowest. Approval in VP history, I think it is the lowest in VP history. That's who he is, folks. We'll keep you updated every step of the way here on the MeidasTouch Network. I'm Ben Meiselas. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.